guys, this is Jason Clark from Iowa City Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and today we're going to talk about utilizing the Muay Thai front clinch, the pros and cons of it, and using it in a self-defense situation. This is our Damien, Coach Damien. He's our Muay Thai and Combat Jiu-Jitsu coach here at Iowa City Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Hey guys, in our other video, using the Muay Thai front clinch and self-defense, Damien went over the basics of the Muay Thai front clinch and some of the offensive tactics he'd be trying to use with it. And then we also talked about some of the fundamental problems with these strategies. I recommend that if you haven't watched that video yet, that you go take a look at it so you have a good understanding of where we're coming from in this video about law enforcement tactics.
Now we're going to talk about law enforcement using the Muay Thai front clinch in an entanglement while they're wearing a duty belt. So there's an officer trying to get me to comply or arrest me. I'm non-compliant. I'm combative with him. And when I get into contact range and we start to scuffle, he's going to go into his Muay Thai front clinch.
Sir, I need you to turn around and put your hands behind your back. Put your hands.
All right, so Officer Damien's gone into the Thai front clinch. However, we've got this same problem right here. My hands are free. If I practice this, or if I'm lucky, I can come in for a one-handed draw on a level 2 holster, okay? And now I have his gun, and I'll have a good chance of using it from here. What's probably going to be more likely is I'll have a struggle here, and I might figure it out with 2 hands, but I still get it out, okay? If I can get this gun out, he's in a lot of trouble. Now, that's probably the worst case scenario. I'm going to have to be pretty lucky to be able to get that. It's going to be very dynamic while this is happening.
Hands behind your
Put your hands
back.
on my face. Right. So we're here in the Thai clinch again with Officer Damien. Except this time, when I reach for his firearm, he's going to come back with 2 hands to work his retention here. Same problem though. He's worried about here. I've lured him in, or I've gotten him into a retention fight, and I've got a really good grip on the handle of his pistol. My other hand is free to go to work, so I'll come to the inside of the femur and I'll start running him through. Okay. Same scenario, except a different retention tactic for Officer Damien.
Put your hands behind your.
Get in here again, I reach for his firearm, but he's going to go with just one hand because he's strong, and he's going to keep control over my neck with this hand. Still the same problem though. My hands are closer to his weapons and mine. Another issue that can come up depending on the model of holster the officer is carrying, some brands are known to be able to rip away from the holster and break off. They're an inferior product, inferior plastics. I do know we have locally had that issue come up with an officer several years ago. What we have here is the same problem that a civilian or an armed civilian has, this officer is having. Alright guys, now let's take a look at why the Muay Thai front clinch is not an ideal entanglement in a self-defense situation for a civilian or law enforcement. The Muay Thai front clinch comes from a combat sport, and that combat sport is designed to keep the person in front of you so you can strike them. That's a problem when we're entangled and we're really in a fight over something serious. So he's got me in the Muay Thai front clinch, and you can see my hands are free to move. But what I do have is access to his tools, whether he's a police officer or he's a civilian and he's carrying in his waistband. And I can also access my tools. Granted, we're not just standing here statically in a real fight. I understand that. I'm getting whipped around. I'm probably taking a shot or 2, but I'll take a shot or 2 if my hand is closer to my firearm. Because even after I take that shot, I'll be able to produce a firearm. I'll be able to produce a weapon. Again, talking about stability over mobility. If he picks his knees up and I can catch one of them, he's in a bad spot in a fight because he's on 1 foot right now. Okay, and even if I don't have this, I'm not a high-level wrestler. There's objects in the environment that could help put him on the ground. If we're outside, there's parking curbs and low walls and obstacles all around the environment that could help me put him on the ground. There's a lot going on. So far we have 2 reasons. Let's talk about the third, is that when I do produce a weapon, well, so let's say it's a knife that I produce, my target is still in front of me once I have my knife. So it's very hard for him to get away from this once I start to use it. So even if he tries to run away from me, I can run forward much faster than he can run backwards, and he'll have a hard time getting away from me. 3 things are, using your knees from this position will compromise your stability, and if I put you on the ground, I'll take away your mobility. Holding on to my head allows me to have access to my waistline, which is where most people carry their defensive tools or offensive tools if you're a criminal. And it allows me to access tools along your waistline if you're a civilian carrying legally CCW or a law enforcement officer carrying his sidearm, open carry, and a retention holster. I can still access it or maybe break it off. Or at least put you in a position where you have to fight me over it, and I'll have 1 free hand and you won't. And the next is, when a weapon is introduced into the fight, you're still presenting yourself as a target directly in front of me where I can utilize my weapon and go to work on you. So let's look at some alternatives to the Muay Thai front clinch. Damien's going to be the aggressor now. We've put a dummy knife in his waistband here, and we're in an altercation I can't get out of, much along the same lines we were doing earlier. He's gonna throw his haymaker. I'm gonna default cover and close the distance on him, okay? So.
Let's go, man. Come on, dude.
Dude, get away from me. I default cover, I close the distance, I come in, and what we're looking at here is being inside as much as I can so that I can get an underhook on this side over here and a wrist tie over here. My head positioning is down in his jawline, and I'm off to the side of him with my, turn your hips. I'm off to the side of him here as much as I can. Now this is keeping me, I'm not directly in front of him. My hips are orientated towards him. His hips are orientated out into space. So that means I could drive through him. And in fact, that's a tactic that we're gonna do from here, is we're gonna be trying to drive and destabilize. My wrist tie here is controlling his access to his waistline, so he cannot access weapons. My underhook here is doing the same thing. Can you reach for your waistline, Damien, with your right hand? It's very hard for him to get access with his right hand or his left. What are some options from here for me? I could, if I have any takedown skills, I could look to throw him on the ground. So we have a tie and an underhook here. There's a lot of throws we could do from here. Let's just look at a simple hip toss. Okay.
Come on, boy.
Get out of here. Default cover into an underhook and a wrist tie. Now, square up a little bit, Damien, with your feet. All right, so from this position, what may happen is I want to get away from Damien. I don't want to try to escape this entanglement from in front of him. If I'm in front of him, he could produce a tool and start to use it on me, or we'll be back into more of a neutral position. Right now I have an advantage. If I go to the front, we're gonna square up and be more neutral. To get out of this, now let's say I don't know Damien has a tool. I don't know if he has a knife or not, but I should assume that he does. To exit out of this entanglement, I could duck under and go behind and then push off of him to create distance between us, because distance is going to give me time to produce a weapon, if need be. So as I push off of him, I'm ready to draw. He turns, he's got his knife, and I already am ready to draw. Same idea, dude, I don't want any trouble, just let me get out of here, okay, I'm so sorry. Default cover, underhook here, I duck under, push off. That's a great time to run away right there. I got a lot of distance between him and I can bolt. All right, guys, so to wrap it up, the Muay Thai front clinch is a great technique to use in the ring when you're in there going one-on-one with somebody in a Muay Thai fight or an MMA fight, but it does have its shortcomings, as we saw in a self-defense situation, whether you're armed or you're unarmed, whether you're a civilian, whether you are a law enforcement officer. There are some limitations to the techniques, and the biggest one is you're not controlling the hands of the threat that's directly in front of you. You got to address that issue. So once again, thanks for watching. This is Coach Damien, and thanks for helping out. I'm Jason Clark. We're from Iowa City Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can go to our website, iowacitybjj.com. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ICBJJ. Thanks a lot. Okay? All right. Get the hell away from me, you pig.
Stay back.
All right, go. Let's cut.